The Juneteenth celebrations have been going on, but at the same time, black people have received a lot of resentment, especially from white people. And white people are asking this question: why is it that black people have a lot of holidays? Why is it everything in America is all about black people? Right? That includes that Juneteenth, that includes, there's so many holidays that are associated with black people. And, people say that, oh, Black Lives Matter. People don't even think about what happened during the Holocaust. And we are asking ourselves this question: has black people interfered with their holidays? The answer is no. Black people hasn't interfered with their holidays. Why is it that when black people start celebrating, why is it that when black people commemorate some special days, it is always an issue for you? Why do you always want to smear something negative when black people try to talk about their history and everything? Why is it like it's a problem to you? That's one question, because we are having white people who are raging that black people have a lot of holidays, and now people are losing it over Juneteenth, right? The Black History Month receives a lot of resentment. Juneteenth receives a lot of resentment. These are dates, or these are special months that mark the emancipation of slavery. These are dates that marks the end of the last black people that were left free. So why is it a problem when black people commemorate these days? Because they mark a special date to black people. They mean something special to black people. Why is it a problem to you when black people remember or commemorate these days? Why do you always want to make everything about you and then come deflect from the truth and say that black people are making everything about themselves? Brothers and sisters, I want us to watch this video, and then I'm going to be back. I'll be sharing my thoughts in regards to this. So let's watch the video. I'll be back.
Boy, there's a lot of white people upset about this Juneteenth holiday.
You've said enough, boy. I want to address this thing about Juneteenth. I don't support it because it is based on a lie. True history is important, not what an elitist point of view forces to be taught in schools and ignores the real truth of what happened.
Then do you admit this?
And my son, hey, it is not your turn, sir.
It's wild how some of you with no connection to Ireland will go all out to celebrate St. Patrick's Day, but suddenly have a problem when it comes to recognizing Juneteenth as a legitimate holiday. That contradiction says a lot more than you think.
I'll do you one even better. There's people out there that celebrate Cinco de Mayo every single year, but turn around and want to deport Mexicans. Then those same people will celebrate a Sweet 16 when that is a direct copy of a quinceañera. Then they'll look you dead in the eye and tell you that Juneteenth shouldn't be a holiday. These people will legitimately argue with you about a holiday that gives them a day off from work. That is some type of racism I just never thought about. And speaking of racists and racism, they sure enough enjoy the day off from work they get from Martin Luther King Day, what doesn't really correlate with the fact that they don't want Juneteenth as a federal holiday. Actually, I just came to the realization that there is no correlation between all of this. I think they just hate minorities, especially black people. Because now that I'm thinking about it, they love our food, they love our music, they love the way that we dress, they love our culture, but they just hate us.
Juneteenth is, excuse me, what's happening to the white people? They have a Black Miss America. They have a black college. They have a black month. What do we have? And now they have Juneteenth. Yes, I understand there was slavery, don't get me wrong. But there was also a Holocaust, and that was more recent than slavery. But you don't hear the Jews saying, gimme, 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 gimme. What's the point of Juneteenth? What is it?
MAGA, I got a question. And don't get mad, because I know y'all like to lynch.
You've said enough, boy. I want to address this thing about Juneteenth. I don't support it because it is based on a lie. True history is important, not what an elitist point of view forces to be taught in schools.
Why do y'all hate Juneteenth so much? better yet, why do y'all hate the Black American celebration of Juneteenth so much? Because if you talk to any Trump-loving MAGA Republican or conservative and you have a historical discussion with them, they will be the first people to tell you that, well, the Republicans freed the slaves, which tells me that you know that slavery happened. And it also tells me that you know that slavery ended. So why are we, the people whose ancestors were actually in chains, why are we not allowed to celebrate the ending of slavery? Because that's what Juneteenth is. It's the Black American celebration and commemoration of when emancipation finally came to Texas and slavery was finally over in the United States. If you're a white person whom I'm not speaking to right now and you claim to be an ally, I want you to go to your mom and your pop and your peep-pop and your peep-paw, and I want you to ask them, why does Juneteenth make you so mad? Because the stats say that you are in close proximity to Trump supporters, whether you like it or not.
Juneteenth shouldn't be a holiday.
Agree.
Agree.
Yeah.
What about the 4th of July?
Oh, that's Independence Day for all Americans.
You think Juneteenth's not for all Americans?
No, they didn't make it for all Americans.
What do you think they made it for?
Black people.
Why do you think that? Seriously, I like to have these questions. Like, why do you think that?
Because that's what we were told.
That's what we were told.
That it's Juneteenth
for slavery, right?
Right.
Yeah, but okay. So, do you think that blacks should celebrate being enslaved?
No.
You think they should celebrate being free?
But we all are.
Yeah. So I know. I'm just asking. Because they're celebrating being free.
Okay, but Irish were slaves.
I know,
We don't have an Irish Teeth Day.
You should.
No, that's getting too. It's dividing us more. It's dividing.
Oh, you think
too many days
yes.
off?
Too many days off?
Yeah, I have a business. Too many days off.
So you think that we should just do everything on the 4th of July?
Yeah, it's Independence Day for America.
I'm just joking. Good morning. Okay, no, but for real, can we just talk about Juneteenth? Yesterday I was in my live and somebody said, what do you think of Juneteenth? And I said, what is it? Juneteenth. I said, why does it even just sound illiterate? It sounds like they're mocking. I don't know. I felt weird. I was like, Juneteenth. Anyway, I looked it up. 160 years later, we get a holiday that says free. You don't kind of think that that's like embarrassing a little bit at all in any way, shape, or form? Because if they actually cared about like love and justice and they like cared about how far y'all have come, they'd be fixing the school to prison pipeline. They'd be handling CPS and all the kidnappings. They'd be actually looking for these kids that they label runaways at the age of 16. They'd be fixing, just the school systems in general. Instead they give you what, a holiday, a day off, and a cake that says you're free? Does that make you feel loved and supported? Seen, heard? Because I don't think so. To me, it looks like it's just a giant mockery.
What the hell is Juneteenth, and why do we even bother celebrating it? And to my fellow white people, this one's for you. Now I'm going to drop some knowledge on you really fast, so please try to keep up. Juneteenth was made into a federal holiday by President Biden back in 2021. Now, Juneteenth, or June 19th, is when we now recognize the official end of slavery in the states here in America. It ended in Texas on June 19th, 1865, which about 250,000 enslaved Americans gained their freedom. Now, to be factually correct, Oklahoma still had enslaved Americans, but they were only a territory. And please listen to me as I tell you this, because I'm going to point out two very uncomfortable truths here in America. Number one, there was a little over 12 million Africans who were enslaved and shipped over to the New World, and only about 10.5 million of them made it, meaning roughly 1.5 million enslaved Africans lost their lives just on transport over here to America. And at the time of emancipation, there were almost 4 million enslaved Americans who were given their freedom. So 10.5 million enslaved Americans, 4 million granted their freedom. So that means 6.5 million enslaved men and women were worked to death without compensation, plus the 1.5 million that were lost while being transported over here. Those souls are gone forever. That gives us a total of about 8 million human lives. But do you know how many soldiers, American soldiers, we've lost in all our wars, both combat and non-combat casualties? About 1.5 million. That's over 5 times as many people that lost their lives than we've lost soldiers. This is a serious holiday. And to further prove my point, speaking of holidays, Christmas is the most popular holiday here in America. And we all know Santa Claus, the guy that I look like, reigns supreme. But did you know Santa Claus was created as a marketing campaign by Coca-Cola Bottling Company, yeah, Coke, 125 years ago? Have you ever wondered why Santa's red and white, Coke is red and white, why Santa and Coca-Cola dominate Christmas? We care more about Christmas than trying to fix and repair our past where we enslaved innocent people and just celebrating them getting their freedom. I think that's kind of messed up, and I'll be proud to celebrate Juneteenth tomorrow in Cincinnati at the FC Cincinnati Major League Soccer game. We're having HBCU night, and I'm going to soak in the moment and the importance of what this night means. I'll see you on the road.
Boy, there's a lot of white people upset about this Juneteenth holiday. Woo-wee. I even heard my little Trump town, this old mediocre white man ask, why can't we have a white holiday? And I asked him, I said, so do you think that the Declaration of Independence included black people? No, they were considered property. And us white ladies, all you white ladies out there, that declaration, it didn't include you either. You didn't have any rights. Something I've always said is life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Terms and conditions apply. That's been a white holiday forever. Juneteenth is for black people. And for my black friends and family, happy Juneteenth. Now, as a white lady, I'm going to go up here to Amazon, and it's got a whole section that says Black Stories. And I'm going to pick one, and I'm going to watch it and try and learn something. And maybe if you do the same, you wouldn't be so bent out of shape about it. I love y'all. Happy Juneteenth.
You've said enough, boy. I want to address this thing about Juneteenth. I don't support it because it is based on a lie. True history is important, not what an elitist point of view forces to be taught in schools and ignores the real truth of what happened.
Then do you admit this?
And my son, hey, it is not your turn, sir. My son graduated from Wingate University with a degree in history. And I've talked to him about some of these things, and from his studies, he confirms to me exactly what I've learned by going beyond textbooks and looking at other sources. A lot of these things I learned by doing that when I was a kid. And it makes me sick what passes for history that is falsehood. And I will not just sit by and take it. I guess I've said enough.
Yeah. My rights come.
You've said enough, boy.
Boy! What do you mean, boy?
I mean, you act immature.
Commissioner Wortman.
Okay, everybody. People are going to be saying Happy Juneteenth.
Yeah, I guess so. Happy Juneteenth, guys. That's the Emancipation Day. I looked it up. That's like the representation of when black people were no longer slaves, which is pretty crazy. I feel like this is one of the most warranted holidays ever, right? Like this isn't even a hot take. Hey guys, we should celebrate when America got rid of slavery. I feel like that should be, well, an accomplishment for America. Kind of a bare minimum one. That's like the celebrating not hitting my wife anymore. We've almost made it 4 days. I'm just kidding. We haven't even made it 2. No, but yeah, I think Juneteenth's kind of a banger, man. That's the representation of black people getting freed.
It should not be a federal holiday, and I'm on my way to work.
Oh, why shouldn't it be a federal holiday? Explain yourself.
Have a good day.
He's a coward. He's not going to explain himself. Yeah, man, listen, I understand that there's a thing called, like, empathy fatigue, get a little fatigued. Oh, why do we have a whole month for gay people? Oh, why do we have a whole month for, whatever. But Juneteenth is a great holiday. It's the representation of black people being freed from being slaves. So I feel like if you disagree with that, you're either really racist or you're desperately trying to be anti-woke because that's fucking cool. It's 2025. Stop being a pussy.
Watch this video and let's talk about it.
Removing Juneteenth from the list of city holidays and restoring Columbus Day, which I believe is a more appropriate holiday honoring our American heritage.
I do have one comment on it. Juneteenth celebrates the actual end of slavery in the United States, and the abolition of slavery, I believe, is one of the crowning achievements of Western civilization and is certainly worthy of celebration. The flip side, North America, as we know it, in the United States entirely would not exist if it were not for the expeditions of Christopher Columbus and other European explorers, which are also worth celebrating. So I don't know if you would consider doing an every other year type of thing, but I think both are very relevant to our history and worth celebrating.
I don't want to change the holiday schedule up. I think that's a lot of complexity. My own view is that Juneteenth is something that nobody had heard of until 5 years ago and was pushed for political purposes. And so I'm not in favor of having that in.
I'm Dr. Michael H. Ford, and let's talk about what you just saw. Recently, the Post-Fall City Council in Idaho voted to remove Juneteenth as a city holiday and restore Columbus Day. The mayor argued that Columbus Day better honors American heritage and claimed that Juneteenth is something nobody had heard of until about 5 years ago and was pushed for political reasons. Here we go again.
Juneteenth is, excuse me, what's happening to the white people?
First, the idea that Juneteenth is new. It's not. Juneteenth dates back to June 19th, 1865, when Union troops arrived in Galveston, Texas, and announced that enslaved people were free more than 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation. Black communities began celebrating Juneteenth as early as 1866. By the late 1800s, thousands gathered annually for parades, church services, and community events across Texas and the South. So no, Juneteenth did not appear 5 years ago. What happened 5 years ago was national recognition, not national discovery. Let's not confuse the two. The holiday existed for more than 150 years before Congress made it federal in 2021. Second, the argument about American heritage. Juneteenth is American heritage. It marks the moment when the last enslaved people in the United States were finally told they were free. The end of slavery, an institution that lasted more than 250 years on American soil, is not a footnote in American history. It is one of the defining turning points in the nation's story. Third, the comparison to Columbus. While Christopher Columbus's voyages in 1492 are historically significant, they also began centuries of colonization that devastated indigenous populations through violence, through disease, and through forced labor. That complexity is exactly why many communities have shifted toward Indigenous Peoples Day. Fourth, the suggestion that Juneteenth is political. The truth is that recognizing emancipation should not be controversial. The abolition of slavery is not partisan history, it is American history. Public holidays tell us what a society chooses to remember. Removing Juneteenth does not erase history, but it does reveal which parts of history some people are uncomfortable honoring. Because Juneteenth is not just about the past. Because Juneteenth is about acknowledging that the freedom in this country arrived late, unevenly, and only after generations of struggle. Because Juneteenth is about recognizing that the promise of America was not delivered to everyone at the same time. History is not erased by removing a holiday, but the choice of what we honor always reveals something about the present. Healing starts with knowing. Follow for more.
Juneteenth is coming up, but there's a big problem because most people think Juneteenth colors are red, black, and green. But that's not Juneteenth, that's Pan-African. And I know this might sound wild, but stay with me because by the end of this, you're going to look at Juneteenth completely different. Juneteenth is not an African holiday. It is an American holiday. It is the day that enslaved people in Galveston, Texas found out they were free right here on this soil in this country. And Juneteenth became an official United States federal holiday in June of 2021. So Juneteenth actually has its own flag, and most people have never seen it. It's red, white, and blue with a star in the center and a burst around it. The star has a dual meaning. One, it represents Texas, the Lone Star State, and it also represents the freedom of foundational Black Americans across all 50 states. And the burst around it represents a new beginning, the birth of a new day, and a fresh start for newly freed people. The same colors as the American flag, because the message is clear. Our freedom is American history, not borrowed from somewhere else. A foundational Black American who is a community organizer and activist named Ben Haith designed the flag in 1997 because he believed that Juneteenth deserved a symbol that told the truth about what the holiday actually is. This Juneteenth, don't let corporate America tell you how to represent our foundational Black American holiday. And let me know in the comments, did you know this already?
Sort of. Breaking news, I'm the mayor, and we're here together.
All right, so a lot of elected officials celebrate Juneteenth and then kind of forget about the Black community afterward. How do you plan on showing up for our community moving forward?
I think first and foremost, we have to remember what Juneteenth is about. It's about a celebration of freedom. And I think about what Martin Luther King Jr. said decades ago, which is, what good is having the right to sit at a lunch counter if you can't afford to buy a hamburger? We can't just celebrate Juneteenth for a historical purpose. We also have to reckon with the fact that the question still stands, what good is freedom if you can't afford to use it? In the most expensive city in the United States of America, Black New Yorkers are being pushed out because of a cost of living crisis that, while everyone experiences, is disproportionately affecting Black New Yorkers. And so Juneteenth is a reminder of what we have to be doing every day, which is actually delivering for those same New Yorkers, making it easier for them to call this city their home and build their lives here. And that's why we're so excited to have this day, and also every single day to ask ourselves, how do we ensure that when we're delivering universal 2K, it's going to the neighborhoods that are often last at the list or even not on the list at all? How do we ensure that when we're talking about the stability of home ownership, we're protecting those who are facing deed theft, who have been homeowners for generations and are now trying to pass that on to the next generation? These are the questions that we're asking ourselves.
That's a really amazing answer. So my final question, you'll like this one, is what is something in Black New York history or culture you wish more people just knew about?
One of the most beautiful things I've had the privilege of learning and visiting is Weeksville, which was the second largest free Black community before the Civil War here in New York City. And we just inaugurated the Weeksville houses, which still are standing and are testaments to a community that had their own infrastructure, whether it was newspapers, whether it was baseball leagues, whether it was schools, orphanages. And it reminds us of the ambition that so many had back then that we need to bring back to our politics today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Okay, everybody, a lot of people are going to be saying happy Juneteenth. It should not be a federal holiday, and I'm on my way to work. Have a good day.
You don't think that we should celebrate freedom? In the land of the free, home of the brave, you don't think that we should celebrate freedom? Because that's what Juneteenth is. Listen to this. On June 19th, 1865, Union troops arrived in Galveston, Texas, with news that the Civil War was over and that all remaining enslaved people in Texas were free, an event now celebrated nationwide as Juneteenth. This was the final enforcement of the Emancipation Proclamation, making it that slavery was now abolished in the United States. The Juneteenth National Independence Day Act had passed the Senate unanimously in 2021, passed the House of Representatives with a majority vote, and then was signed into law by President Joe Biden. I really just don't understand what the opposition is to this holiday.
Let's brew some tea while I discuss why it's important that white people want to celebrate Juneteenth also. Juneteenth is the liberation of the last slave in America. And even though you might not come from descendants that were slaves, in fact, you might come from people who had slaves. The fact that our country had slaves for as long as they did and continued to have slaves even after slaves were supposed to have been freed, it is a big deal that slaves were finally freed. And it should not only be Black people that are celebrating this monumentous day. Honestly, I'm not going to make it about me. I'm not trying to center myself in the middle of a cookout and say, I'm not even asking to be invited, to be perfectly honest. I just think that every single person that is white should be happy that today exists and acknowledge that today exists, because today is a big day for our country's history. I think that if you're a white person, you should look up Juneteenth, understand what Juneteenth is about, and celebrate it, because the freedom and liberation of Black people in our country is something to celebrate, regardless if you're a Black or white. Have a good day.
Hello brothers and sisters, welcome back to the channel. I'm hoping that you are doing great. From wherever you're watching this video from. Again, I'm your host and presenter Agenda Stories. You know, all these outbursts of emotions when Black people are trying to celebrate. What they're trying to celebrate really tells a lot about the United States and white people. Because every time Black people try to celebrate something, anytime we have a Black excellence, they will always try to smear something. They always try to tarnish it and make it look like it was a mistake for Black people doing or celebrating whatever they try to celebrate. One thing that I've noticed, they won't let Black people celebrate anything. They always trying to make them about it. They always try to make it about them. Brothers and sisters, as I was watching the video, I came across these comments, and I think it's important for me to share with you what really people think about Juneteenth and why we are seeing, this resentment that is going on right now. So somebody says that, wanna know a secret? They don't want Black folks celebrating anything. Black joy is something they cannot control. But who cares? I'd rather celebrate Juneteenth than the 4th of a lie. Black joy is a concept that we also need to talk about. Because for the longest time, when Black people tried to celebrate, a win, or an achievement seem to be bothering all these groups of people. Somebody said that because Juneteenth reminds white people of slavery, of the bad things, and we are celebrating, and they wish we were back into slavery. It celebrates freedom of thought and thinking, and they don't like that. They don't want to think for us like they used to. That's what it is, right? Somebody say that they don't like Juneteenth because it means they have to recognize that it took them a year and a half to free the slaves after the emancipation. That's a reality. Somebody say that, doesn't that woman know that Holocaust was in Germany? Slavery was an American tragedy, and Juneteenth commemorates the freedom of black Americans. Slavery still exists on July 4th, 1776, so black Americans were not included. Juneteenth is Black American Independence Day. You all celebrate your freedom from tyranny. Why can't we? That's just a question that this person has asked, right? Somebody also say that because anything that brings black joy and affirmation makes them ill. Misery loves company, and if you have a hollow soul, nothing can fill it. And my peace, love, joy from others will be constant reminder of what you lack, right? So, I really want to know what you'll think about this. What do you think about the opinion, especially for the First Lady that shared his opinion in regards to what she really feels about Juneteenth? She goes ahead and asks, white people have gone through Holocaust. Why is it not given much airtime as people are giving the Juneteenth? So, somebody said that I wish for people claiming to celebrate Juneteenth that they will understand and learn that the real history of 8th Juneteenth has nothing to do with African or Caribbean and the colors red, black, blue, and green. There is an actual Juneteenth flag that is red, white, and blue. It was designed by a black American man. Look it up. Somebody also said that woman don't know the history of the Jews. They are getting reparations for life in Israel to this day. Also, why do white people hate us so badly? We have never done the things that the white oppressors have done to us. So why the hate? Also, are there no white or black people? Right? People are really talking about this issue in the room. Somebody said that why can't we celebrate our ancestors being set free? We don't need anyone's permission or approval to honor our history. It is time for us to remember where we came from and what our ancestors went through. We are celebrating for them, especially for those who never got the chance to experience this freedom themselves. This Juneteenth is for them, brothers and sisters. Right. So this is the last comment that I'm going to be reading. Black people don't care whether Ohio got rid of Juneteenth and brought back the Columbus Day. Black people are still going to celebrate. You can't stop people from celebrating. You can't say, well, June 19th, you can't celebrate. They are going to celebrate barbecue. Whether you make it a holiday in Ohio or not, America's still going to celebrate Juneteenth in pockets of America. You don't have to participate if you're white. It's up to you. You can't take your ass to work too. On that day, the day could have had off. Go to work. Right. So please let me know what you'll think about this video. But until then, peace, love, and harmony. Salud.